starting off on NQ. So you can see how on the monthly time frame we had that bullish move up in May. We then took out the previous month's high in June and we formed all-time high, and then we sold all the way off and then came all the way back up. Then in July you can see how we come in for that previous month's low, and we've been bearish ever since. Now if we look at the weekly time frame, how does that look? So we took out these lows from the left, okay, trapping these buyers. We had that bullish move up at the end of the week. Now this week opened up. Monday, Tuesday we went bullish. I think on Tuesday we formed the high of the week, and then we came for previous week's low, and we've been selling off since. Now I was bearish going into this week. I can go through why. So even though we've taken out these lows from the left, okay, we've got to look at where these reactions have been coming from. So you can see how if we take out this candle and we look at the reactions that have occurred, you can see how we react from this candle and we move away through a breaker structure, okay, indicating to me that we've induced buyers. We now have liquidity at these lows. We then come back into this area and we break structure back to the upside. Now that was during Monday, Tuesday's price action this week. And so after that breaker structure to the upside, I was convinced that we would move lower towards these lows, which we did on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Now if we break down what happened during this week, so as I said, we took the lows from the left on Friday. Now if we go down to lower time frames and dissect this price action, after we took the lows from the left, we've collected liquidity. We then have a breaker structure to the upside, okay. Now once we broke structure to the upside, we've even taken out all this liquidity, sellers just in the market. We break structure to the upside, we come back down to the lows, we respect the lows and we move away. Now what I like to do is I mark out the candle that led to that breaker structure. So this candle, you can see how we respected the low and then we moved away. We broke structure back to the upside. Now what have we basically done by taking out these lows? We have induced sellers. So you can see how sellers are willing to take positions at these highs, okay, and we can see that if we look at where sellers have taken positions, okay, you can see how we respect this high and then we come back down to the lows. Now this is I believe on Friday near the close. You can see how we come back into this area. Look at how many buyers were induced from this move. Yeah, look at these breaker structures, okay, just buyers getting trapped, okay, and you have these smart buyers who are trying to come in at the low, the fibs, the 78.6, the premium discount. And then what happens is when the market opens, okay, we have this bullish move up, so we induce buyers and then we come back down and we trap them, okay. Now this isn't a position I'd take on the open, and you can see how we come into a liquidity block. However, we have not taken the inducement from the left, the inducement low that led to the high being formed. So what do? On Monday we start to move higher, okay. Now if we zoom into this price action, all we're doing is breaking structure to the upside and then we're coming back down to the lows, respecting those lows, okay, building more liquidity to the downside. We then move higher, respect the low. This is during Asia now, and by taking out this low we've induced sellers. What are we building? We're building liquidity at the highs as well. Okay, so you can see that here. Now, during Asia, all we're doing is building liquidity. Okay, we're in this range between two liquidity points. We come back down, and then during London on Monday, we start to see this bullish move up. Okay, now where does this bullish move come from? It comes from this liquidity block. We then take, so we induce buyers at this high, and then we come to trap them. However, we still have not taken all the inducement from the left, so we can just mark that out as well. So we start to move bullish. Okay, we come, and what have we come to take? We just move our box along. We come and we take out that liquidity. Yeah, we reacted from it, moved away. We then come out and take that liquidity. Okay, now we can mark that out. We come and induce buyers. Okay, however, look at all this liquidity still above. We are still respecting these highs. Okay, so once we take liquidity, this is now I believe on the open, on market open, so stock open, we induce higher, we respect these highs, and we sell off. Okay, now all we've done in this move is induce buyers. We come back down, we respect this area. Okay, nothing I'd be taking, even though this is an LB. Okay, I'm not looking to take a buy here yet. I'm looking for buyers to get trapped fully, and I was waiting for these lows to go below. Okay, so these were our London and Asia lows. So nothing that I took on Monday, and I will only take clean setups on Monday. So we come to these lows, we respect it, and we move away. Okay, now even though we've taken on the higher time frame lows from the left, we would not be looking for any sells. However, once we've taken this high, we formed an LB, respected this low, okay, and moved away. We've taken out these early sellers. This is a position you could have taken. However, for me, it's late in the day, and it doesn't fulfill the 1 to 3 requirement that I have as a rule for myself, because your stops would have to be above this LB. This is an engineered liquidity move. So if I just put my highs, put the stops above those highs, and then I'd be targeting the liquidity. Okay, now what liquidity would I be targeting? Well, this would be my partial area, and this would be my target. Why here? Because we have an LB below, which we can anticipate reactions from. So you can see a 2.4, nothing that I'd take. Okay, we then come back down, induce lower, back into this area, come back up and take those highs. But again, the RR just didn't make sense. So nothing you'd be taking on a Monday. Okay, but you can see how we've built liquidity to the downside. Now, what do we come and do on the close of Monday? We come and we take out all of that liquidity. Okay, but again, nothing I'd take. Why? Because we still have that inducement from the left. Okay, that inducement low is still intact. So on Tuesday, Asia, we break higher. Okay, and we then come back down to these lows. We respect these lows. Again, liquidity being built at these lows, so keep that out, marked out. Now I do see this sometimes. What people do is, so we now moved bullish. Okay, we formed an LB, so we induced higher and then trapped, and then we carried on moving higher, and then we trapped into that liquidity block. Okay, now I see some people take longs here. Just nothing I'd be taking during Tuesday Asia. Now remember how we had that liquidity above? What does the market come and do? It comes and hunts for that liquidity. Okay, so we take that liquidity. So as I was saying, we come and hunt for that liquidity, okay, and we take it. So if we all the way to the right, so we respect, move away. Look how we break structure, okay, take out some lows. Now we come back up, take that liquidity, and then we move lower. Now I wouldn't trust this as an LB, okay. This isn't something I'd take, where we come, and I believe this was on the open, we induce higher and then trap. I would have waited. Why? Because we essentially respected this, okay. So we have liquidity there. I was expecting these lows to go, but then we come up higher, and then you can see how we take, okay, all this liquidity above. Okay, so look at where we respected these highs. We come into an LB area. So this is an LB. Okay. So you can see how we induced lower, and then we induced lower, and then we came and trapped higher. So the market comes. Let me just make this an LB, and let me just refine it. So this whole area, yeah, we came lower and then we took these highs. Okay, now this isn't where I look for a trade. Look at all this liquidity we still have above. Okay, so we can look at it as we come into it. Okay, now this is on Tuesday PM session, and we start to just respect these highs. Okay, we come and take the lows. Okay, so we wouldn't be looking to sell straight away. However, you can see how we, after taking the lows, we come up, take these internal highs, okay, and then we start to sell off. We respect this area to the left. So we respect this area to the left hand side, and then we move up and we take some internal. Now you could have taken an entry there during Asia, okay, on Wednesday, okay, to the lows. So that's what you could have done, okay. However, all that liquidity above, I wouldn't have taken it, okay, in real time. That wouldn't have made sense. Do we take this high out? Could have taken something, but we're just building liquidity. There's too much liquidity above. But essentially what we do is we come all the way down, okay, on Wednesday, and we take all that liquidity that we built on Tuesday. Now, this was really hard to get into, okay. We spiked on the open, I believe, okay, and then we just moved higher. What did we do? We come and take out these highs. Now again, all this internal left, am I looking to take a trade here? Absolutely not. So Monday and Tuesday we're just inducing higher. Now from Wednesday, this is where I was looking for shorts, because we've taken these highs, okay, and we've basically formed an LB here as well, because we induced lower, trapped higher. We come all the way down during Asia. So this is on the market close on Wednesday. We respect retail because we've induced higher. We come respect and we move away. There's now liquidity below here. And what do? We come and take all of that seller liquidity. Look at that precision there. Okay, we come and take all that seller liquidity. That's now formed an LB, and then look what we do. We induce lower, and then as soon as we opened and spiked that candle's high, okay, that is your entry during Asia. Yeah, that's Thursday Asia session. Stops above the high. And what am I targeting? Well, I would partial at these structural lows, and then I would be riding it to my higher time frame target for 1 to 21. Now that was one entry during Asia. We then come towards the London session. We induce lower during London Open, and then we take these highs. This now forms our LB. Now this is exactly where I took my position during London. We come to retail POI. You want to see that respecting that low. We move away. We take these highs, and this is an LB. As soon as we tapped into it, this is where I took my position during London. Now, I was just confident with direction. I generally wait for the stock open, and then I just rode it all the way down to the lows. So what did we do during the open? We opened, spiked lower, took that liquidity. We've now induced lower. So we've induced sellers. We have these early buyers getting in, and then they get trapped. Now look at these lows, these highs that we've respected. Okay, we move lower, we respect these highs. So you can see how all of this is just liquidity now. Okay, so if we move it all along, so we then we induce lower, we move higher during the close on Thursday, and then we come all the way down, respect these lows, and we take them out on Friday. Now, I did not see this at first. I waited for these buyers to be trapped, and I did go BE on Friday. I waited for these buyers to be trapped. We then induced higher once more, and then we trapped again. Now, once those lows, those higher time frame internal lows went, and we can see how we respected these highs, I was looking for longs. I waited for us to tap into this liquidity block. Okay, so this LB, which we did, we tapped into it. Okay, and as soon as we tapped into it, we had that bullish move up. We took out this internal high, and that's when I went BE. I was targeting these highs, and then eventually the highs to the left. So these highs here. For 1 to 10. However, what did price do? It took that internal high, induced lower, and then came back up and trapped those sellers. And we then had this move lower. So I am expecting us to open, spike these lows, 28021.25, and then have some form of a bullish move to take out these internal highs. We've got so much liquidity to the upside, it's unreal. Yeah, look at this trend line. So yeah, let's see what NQ does. We also have this liquidity below. I would mark this 26565 out on your charts because we have that liquidity below as well. Overall, what I would love to see is these lows go, and then we hunt for all of this liquidity, the higher time frame move essentially playing out. If we take these lows, the buys back up will be very, very clean, and there'll be many opportunities to take those all the way to all-time highs essentially, because we have enough liquidity there now. That's pretty much NQ. So if we were to mark up our higher time frame on NQ, I would have this level here, 26565. We induced buyers and then trapped them. Okay, and I would have this candles low, and then we have all this liquidity as well. Okay, so yeah, we'll see how we open on NQ, but I am expecting, because we've trapped buyers, okay, I am expecting a move up to take liquidity. Okay, and that is basically what I'm looking for on NQ. In terms of gold, yeah, gold's just playing in a range. I mean, our overall higher time frame target is these lows. Okay, that's our overall higher time frame target. You can see how we're playing this range where we've respected liquidity above and below. We induced buyers at these highs. We came and trapped them. However, we didn't take the inducement from the left. Okay, you can see how this low respected this low. We broke structure to the upside, and then we came and took that low. That's why we're seeing this bullish move on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Once we took that liquidity of sellers, we're now having that move down. So hopefully I want to see these lows go, most probable, and then we have some sort of move to the upside, or we might just continue until we take the higher time frame lows on, I believe it was the daily. Yeah, so you can see how we respected this area and broke structure to the upside. So we have liquidity below on gold. So yeah, that was NQ and gold. On German 40, there was a clean entry. You can see where we have induced buyers, okay, and then we've respected these lows. Okay, so we respected these lows and we moved away. Okay, we now have liquidity at these lows. So what did the market do? We come and take out those highs, okay, on Wednesday. Look at all this liquidity we have below, okay, all that liquidity below. We induce lower, okay, buyers getting in, induce higher, trapped, and I believe Abid took this position. So as soon as those highs go, I'm not sure if he took that exact position, but anywhere in that area there, and then you would have been essentially taking it to those lows, yeah, all the way down to those lows there. Now unfortunately respected the lows once more, moved away, okay, which is unfortunate, but just still a very clean position that you could have taken. And that was German 40. Okay, we'll look at EU. So I had this marked out where we took these highs, so we've induced buyers. We're coming for these lows. Okay, so we're coming for these lows. Now, what did we do on Tuesday? You can see how we induced lower and then trapped higher. We came into this LB. You could have taken a risky position there on Thursday. However, this was the better position to take. On Friday, we came and respect these lows once more, induced higher. Okay, we came back to the lows, respected those lows, and then moved back higher. So we induced lower, trapped higher, and this is an LB that we've come into. You can see it better on the 5 minute. So we respect that LB. Okay, you could have even treated this, waited for this LB to form. We trapped again, and then you can see we're having that move lower. So I am expecting lower prices on EU. I'm hoping we just gap down, take out these lows. So yeah, that's the direction for EU. And what else do you guys want to look at? Euro AUD. I was actually in a higher time frame position here on Euro AUD because we induced buyers at the highs. We came into an LB area. We respected it. I did take a position here. Look at how we had resting liquidity below, and we just came and took that, and we've just been ranging since. So that was on Euro AUD. GJ, there's nothing exciting on GJ, to be honest. We're just trading at very high prices. I can see we have all that liquidity below, but I was looking at this. If we look at what we've done during the week, so we opened up here, we induced lower, and that's it really. And then we've just been respecting these highs. just been ranging the whole week, to be honest. So nothing on GJ there. Yeah, nothing I'd take on GJ there. Crypto, BTC. So we've induced lower on BTC and we've come up and respected these highs. So I am expecting these highs to get taken. This week, all we did was we induced higher, built liquidity at the highs. So look at the liquidity we've built. Took out the low, so trapped these buyers, and now we're having that move up. So hopefully we have that move up. So on BTC, I am bearish. I want to see these highs go and then come and take out all these lows. I have a target at 49k. Yeah, here, 49k. That'll be my higher time frame target. So that's BTC really. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, in terms of assets. RTY, where is that? Yeah, same thing with RTY. We didn't take those lows. That's surprising. You can see how early week we induced buyers again, formed an LB, respecting the lows. Maybe if we can come to these highs, we can sell off. But you can see it's just been rangy price action. We sold off, respected these lows. Hopefully we can have that bullish move up and then take those lows at 2931.2. Yeah. But yeah, this, when we're talking about buying or selling with structure, this is what we was talking about, where we break structure, come up to the highs. Even if we have an LB in this area, you don't want to be looking for sells because we're trading through a break of structure. So that's what I mean when you're trading with structure. Yeah.